Hey y'all, it's Kaylee from EatPlantsLiveWell, and today I just wanted to go over the story behind me being vegan. And I've seen a lot of these on YouTube lately, and so it seems to be a bit of a fad, but I thought it was important, I guess, for everybody to know kind of my vegan story and how I came upon the vegan lifestyle. So anyway, here we go. And so it's 2015 now. It was back in 2002, 2001, and I picked up a copy of, I know this is kind of cliched because a lot of people probably are saying this as far as when they started becoming vegan, but John Robbins' Diet for a New America. It's an amazing book, and I'm actually using it right now to prop up my camera, so I can't really show you, but I'll put it up here. And probably most people that eat vegan, vegetarian have heard of this book, read it, subscribed to, it's an amazing book, and I'm forever indebted to John Robbins for writing the book and just for his amazing contribution to animals and veganism and vegetarianism. So that was the beginning, is I read that book, and I was continually at that point frustrated because I was not extremely unhealthy and not extremely overweight, but I worked out a lot, and I've always been a workout fan, but I could never quite lose the amount of weight that I wanted to lose. I never saw the progression in fitness that I wanted to see, and so I was frustrated, and so I was going to the gym a lot and not seeing the results, and I was eating just this, typical, not the typical standard American diet. I mean, I ate pretty healthy relatively, but I was eating a lot of meat. I mean, I probably had, I was following the typical, like, protein at every meal, some sort of starch and a veggie, typical meal like that. So I was eating a lot of, I think I ate a lot of fish, and I don't think I ate much red meat, and I had experimented off and on prior to this year with vegetarianism. So I like the concept. I think the biggest obstacle for me in becoming vegan or vegetarian was, kind of the social acceptance of it, and kind of, I remember thinking after I read Diet for a New America and wondering whether or not Brian, my husband, whether he would be on board with me becoming vegetarian or vegan, and that was a big concern. And so, and I'm not sure why. I guess I thought that it would be a pain in the butt for him, or like he wouldn't want me to, and he was very accepting and great and on board and everything. He didn't do it initially. He kept eating meat, but he was very supportive, and so I was very fortunate at that time to have him be very supportive. So I started after reading that book, and a lot of it at that point really was about me. It was about my own health and not about the animals or about the environment. And so that's the way it started out for me in the year 2002, so 13 years ago. So it started out being all about me and all about my health and my diet and weight loss, really, is what it was. I'm sure a lot of people can agree with that, as far as that being maybe the starting point for vegetarianism or veganism for them. But I wasn't vegan yet. I was still eating cheese. So I had a little improvement in health, but not a lot, because I was still eating heavy saturated fat stuff like dairy products and cheese, and that went on for probably another, I would guess maybe 3 or 4 years before I started to really think about, maybe I should get dairy out of my diet. Maybe I need to go to the full vegan option. And so I read a book called The China Study, T. Colin Campbell, which, again, I'm sure a lot of you watching have read or seen, or maybe have been wanting to read. But it's an amazing book, and The China Study is right up there with Diet for a New America as far as the health consequences of the standard American diet, and it's a great book. Everybody should read it, and it really kind of opened my eyes to the whole dairy thing. And I don't know, like, years-wise, I mean, it could have been longer than 4 or 5 years. I can't remember when China Study came out. But anyway, as soon as the book came out, I read it, and that's when I really, I think I started to go vegan, but I really went full bore vegan at that point. And so I stopped eating cheese. I stopped eating any dairy. And really, the cheese, I think, was the hardest part. I think I thought it was going to be the hardest part, and it really wasn't that hard at all. There were, I just ended up ordering, like at restaurants, I would order a pizza without cheese, which you know, sometimes the servers are like, oh my God, without cheese. But it ended up being good, and I enjoyed it, and of course I felt much better. And really the health benefit for me going from my regular meat eating diet to vegetarian was significant, but not amazing. But the real benefit was going vegan and getting rid of those dairy products, because I remember I used to wake up and I'm not sure if it was the dairy or if it was the salt or the sugar in the items I was eating, but I used to wake up and have like terrible like joint pain in my fingers and my wrists. And I used to be a really heavy, even after I became vegan, I was still a heavy salt eater. So I would carry like salt around with me in a little packet, a little Ziploc bag, for work, so I could like salt items. And I would never even taste the food before I salted. I would just salt it. So then, okay, so Diet for a New America, China Study, and then I started reading and researching fruitarianism and 80-10-10, and I read Douglas Graham's 80-10-10, and you know, I know there's a lot of controversy with Douglas Graham as far as like, I don't know what he's got going with like his retreats and the fasting issues, but the book I think really probably was the most pivotal as far as my diet and then making that transition from being vegan to going raw. And right now I'm 80 to 90% raw. Like I have some rice and potatoes occasionally, but for a long time, maybe it's probably been about 3 years now. So like 2012, 2013, I think was when I started talking about becoming a fruitarian and doing the whole raw food diet. And that's when it really probably made the biggest impact on me health-wise again. Like you know, I'm an endurance athlete, so I do a lot of marathoning, and I do a lot of, you know, I've done an ultra, and I did, you know, Grand Canyon run, and so my passion is running, and I'm also I've done triathlons. I did Arizona Ironman in 2011, so I'm huge into what's gonna get me to the finish line and have, you know, less pain, muscle pain, and have that recovery be faster. So that was kind of my motivation for looking at the 80-10-10 diet, because I just kind of Googled like athletes, and I think I came upon Michael Arnstein's channel, The Vegetarian, and I was pretty amazed at his body fat and his accomplishments in the ultra scene, and just his videos were awesome. And then of course I went and progressed into like you know, Durian Rider, and then the Banana Girl, and I love her videos, and she's amazing, very motivational. So 80-10-10 was huge, raw was huge. I mean, raw is a challenge for me. It's still a challenge for me now as far as like doing it 100%, but I mean, it's not a challenge to do it 70-80% of the time, 90% of the time. I love fresh fruit, bananas. I mean, I buy sometimes when I go out 30 bananas, you know, every other day, and I eat that many. And then I, you know, love mango. And those fruits and vegetables not as much as fruit, but I do crave greens for a salad once a day at least. And but mangoes and fruit, I'm eating fruit like breakfast and lunch, I have no problem with. I love it. The challenge comes when it's dinner time and I get to the point of kind of craving some cooked items. So right now I'm working on that. I want to get back to 100% raw. I want to get back to eating all fruit and raw vegetables, and I think that that's coming up, hopefully for the last time that I'll struggle with that. But that's kind of my vegan story. That's how it happened for me. And now I've got a YouTube channel I'm starting. It's called EatPlantsLiveWell, and I've got a blog too. So I'm hoping that I can help people like maybe that are watching, that are looking at like transitioning to vegan or vegetarian or fruitarian or whatever, wherever that and what they're at, and the help that they need, hopefully getting to that point. But really, like, the biggest thing I wanted to add too is that my vegan story is kind of all about my health. And so I feel a little bit bad about that, in terms of like, it's always been about me and my body type and losing weight and becoming an athlete and helping me become a better endurance athlete. And so I do know that when I started thinking about becoming vegan from vegetarian, that one of the big things is I saw a video, and this was a few years ago, and I don't even remember where it was, but it was a video of a facility where they had a cow, and it was in a forklift, and they were pushing it around the floor, and it was, you know, I don't know if it was dead at that point or near dying, but it was on the news, and it was a big controversy, and people were all horrified, of course, but not realizing that that stuff goes on all the time, but thinking that oh, that's an exception, you know, we've got to stop that. And so it was an undercover investigation. I'm not sure who was responsible for it, but so I watched that, and that really put me over the edge. Like, I'm vegan for sure. Like, I'm not doing any dairy products. I'm not doing any cheese. And so that was a really pivotal moment for me too, as far as like making that transition from, it's not all about me and my diet, really, why I do it. I mean, that's a lot of the reason why I'm vegan, but a lot of the reason too is that the animals, and that's what has really kept me vegan and really made me, like, you know, adamant about being vegan and spreading the message and starting this YouTube channel, is that, you know, a lot of the information that I have out there and that I will put out there will be about diet and maybe weight loss and helping people accomplish those goals so they can become better athletes and improve their lives and get to a point where they want to, as far as, you know, their weight and maybe their body. But ultimately, my motivation stems, and I think I'll move more in this direction, as far as it, you know, it's about the animals and about making sure that hopefully we can move towards more people adopting a vegan diet and a vegetarian diet or a fruitarian diet in order to move away from the practices that are happening with animal agriculture. I'm a huge animal lover. I have 2 dogs and a cat, and I've always had pets, and I always considered them to be like amazing and, like, you know, more important to me than some people are in my life. So that's important to me, animal activism. And as I continue to progress along my spectrum of this lifestyle, I want to become more active in animal active advocate for the animals, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I look forward to doing that and hoping to, again, add that to other people's motivation to adopt this lifestyle. So anyway, that's my vegan story, and thanks for watching. Appreciate it, and hopefully my Eat Plants Live Well channel will do well as far as like bringing more people into the movement, and hoping to convince people to adopt a diet that will help the planet, will help the animals, and also help yourself as far as your health and longevity. All right, thanks. Eat plants and live well.